Testing, testing. Looks all green. I haven't done this in a while, so welcome back. I'm Ren Farnell, technical designer at UX is Fine, and today we're going to be making the Arc Raiders UI. We're listening to Dusk here, really cool hardware audio producer. So he produces with hardware, not anything else like AI, for example. Okay, so I'm just going to take a look here. Trying to open a project because I don't know which project I'm opening. It's been a while. I don't remember this machine in general. I also just tried to save a picture. Make it. Literally just woken up, so it's coffee time. It's coffee time. We're looking into creating this. Okay. So, yeah. This won't be too bad. Element for an entry, a couple of different states that it can have, and visible hidden elements. Data driven, so that it can have the icon and the color that is associated, and maybe a tooltip as well. Let's take a look what else. You know, the branch tag, like the name of the branch that's going to be part of, potentially. Maybe that could drive the color separately, so you don't have to open the widget to configure that. And then splines, right? So the splines is going to be the hard part. I'm going to use a plugin for that part. So yeah, this is the old Jimmy. Here we go. So I've got a little compass at the top there that's actually really great. I'll have to look into that. So quite a couple of artifacts in this project that I want to go and fix, because even those little dots there are not great. Okay. Main menu. So yeah, this is using a pack that I'm also going to replace at some point so that I can share this project out to you guys. Okay, so first things first, I need to make sure that I actually have the plugin installed. The thing I wanted to make sure was, what version am I in first? 5.6. It's not bad. Spline. There's no spline plugin installed. Let's go install the spline plugin, and while we're doing that, we'll get started on creating some data for this. Library. Of course it doesn't show up. It's not showing up on my fab, so I can't install it. I wonder if I can do it through here. There we go. This is doing right now. Install the plugin. 5.6. Okay. An unknown error has occurred. It cannot it cannot install the plugin. But anyway, this is a plugin that's gonna, you can see here in the background the Arc Raiders like spline influence there. So this comes with all the tools that you would need to do that. So I'm gonna attempt to get that installed. I'm just gonna copy it from a project that I know already has it, because otherwise we're going nowhere. We're going nowhere. How can I find it? So, show an explorer. Put this back down. I suppose. Yeah. So this should take It shouldn't take too long. I've got 45 minutes to get started on it today, and then we're going to finish it maybe tomorrow morning. Sweet, sweet black coffee. Okay. Alright, let's check if we've got that plugin. Spline widget demo. Awesome. If we hit play on this, you can see here we've got spline editing in game, which is really cool. So yeah, it's got SDF based interior, so you can do things like region mask, for example. What else we got? Pass a world spline, so there's a world spline in here. This is taking its details from one of these. I think this one. So say this was a region that you've outlined in your game world, then it's going to work. I just want to steal some stuff. Let's have a quick look what else. So spline editing, switch materials, duplicate points. It's pretty cool. Delete them. So yeah, it's a little runtime. This is neat. Refresh bake, and then anyway, next speed. Yep, we can do this stuff. Very cool. Toggle spline editing at runtime. I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch it. Anyway, next. Right, yeah, so this is the bit that we're going to use. So this is the anchored spline lines. Cool. Okay. So in there is an example of what we're making. So maybe we should start there. Copy this spline demo widget page and go back to our UXIF levels. Okay. In here, presumably, the FPS, all different systems in here. So we'll just make a new folder, try and follow the conventions, which will be skill tree. Skill tree system. Just skill tree is fine. Where's that page? This one. Do that here. Okay, so text at the top here. Let's take a look at our reference. There's no text at the top. Got three primary spline widgets. I technically want to generate those at runtime. I don't want to have to manually do this, but I may just have to. It may simply be quicker to just do it by hand. We can see here it's actually thicker when it's selected as well, so it's a good note to keep in mind. And then we've got this circle element here as well. So the first thing that we should really do is create the circles with the icon inside, and we'll start constructing the main screen afterwards. So let's go and create a new user widget here. W_skill tree entry. And this skill tree entry will give it a view model, I think. So let's go make a blueprint class, view model. It'll be a VM_skill tree entry. Is this going to work? Because I'm not constructing them into the graph. I'm placing them manually. Do it by ID. It can go and get its ID based information. So let's add the information that it needs. Firstly, we've got the category. We'll need to go and make the category. So blueprint enum skill tree category. 1, 2, 3. Got conditioning. Correctly, ideally. mobility and survival. Mobility and survival. Save that. Okay. Skill tree. Category, cool. The next thing that skill has is an icon, so we'll say icon, soft text, that'll be texture 2D, soft texture. What else does an icon have here? It has states and it has levels, and every single one of them is 0 to 5 as far as I know. Maybe something, maybe this one for example isn't. So we'll just do max levels. Do that default 5. It technically needs the ID. So it's going to be conditioning 1, conditioning 1, conditioning. How are we going to separate these rows? I mean, I could just give them IDs and then just draw the lines. We do also need the lines to respect which ones have been unlocked. So if you've unlocked, it does need to have some kind of hierarchy. So it would be like linked, ID driven and linked. So what we could do is we can actually put a function in here, create unique ID. What this will do is get the asset registry. Well, first let's put the ID in. Unique ID. Whoa, unique ID. Put that at the top. Technically not instance editable, I would say, but oh well. Get assets path, and it'll be new folder here. Skills. Let's go in here. Actually, we don't want this in the VM. Sorry, I'm doing this wrong. We're going to actually have to duplicate this view model base into a data asset, which is kind of annoying. Actually, can I just make these? No, if I wonder. I can't make this into a view model, sadly. Okay, so this actually doesn't go on here. In fact, none of this goes on here. Just realized. Oh, okay, let's just do it the other way. All of this and then file reparent this to primary data asset. There we go. We'll do the VM after. Okay, so the unique ID. Yeah. So this is now a data asset. Did it wrong the first time. So this is going to be a data asset. And here what we can do is go to miscellaneous data asset. Look like the right thing. Miscellaneous data asset. Skill. It's called VM right now. We'll go change that. DA underscore skill. Conditioning. Need to come up with a convention for how I'm going to tag those. BP skill tree data, we'll call this. Okay, so in here we're going to get the assets by path. And it's going to be the path of this, so we'll copy this path. Should be game, skill, and then it gives us this DA. So we're just going to do this. Each. What we're going to do is going to take the ID, and we're just going to use the ID as the unique identifier. Put print string here for now. What we'll do is turn this function into a call-in editor function. And then when we actually go open our skill, we'll get this here. So let's just go check our output log, clear the log, dock the log. So you can see here, we've got this 0 coming up, and 0, right? So if I make a new skill, conditioning 2, and press this, output log, now got 0 and 1, so we have 2 entries. So that will create the unique ID basically. And so what we can do is then take this unique ID here, just plug it in. You've got to be an idiot to give it your own ID, and if you're doing that, then it's on you, I suppose. Create unique ID. Now this is 1. Oh, it's going to go through every single one. Get asset equal to self branch through return. Save that. Conditioning. So this would be 0. Should have been 0. What's this one? Create unique ID. 0. Okay, let's make a new one. I don't really care what the ID is as long as it's unique. Okay, it's 2. Yeah. Okay, so we've got this thing that we can start configuring what the skills actually look like, and we can put other data in here like tooltip information, stuff like that. Gameplay abilities that you gain if you've got this, attributes, effects that are supplied to you in the gameplay ability system when you have this skill. So the next thing I will need to do is have the design, we have the spline system. We were going to make a widget to represent this. We did start making a widget to represent this. So let's go with an overlay. Do we want an overlay? Do we need an overlay? Kind of do need an overlay. We could do a border, technically speaking, but the border. So the problem with borders is they don't have an explicit size. Overlay with an image. The image defines the size. The icon can just live inside of it. So we're going to go with overlay with an image. Hit to desired size. We're going to set this to around 128 by 128. It's quite a big one. Fine. Stick a scale box in here. Scales. We might actually need this in a size box anyway, I've realized, because we need to change the size of it. And the problem with this scale box is if we stick this image in, let's say 90 by 90, it's red, just to demonstrate. And then we say we want to change this image's size to change the parent. The other one is still the same size, even though it's set to be the full size, so that's not going to work. So we'll replace this with child, and we'll actually wrap this with a border. Get rid of the image. So we'll call this just border circle. And so for the overlay, we'll just replace that with child. We'll wrap this with a size box. It's going to be the size box that we edit. And in fact, we can do that through the VM. So going back to our skill data here, I could just do size. It's a vector 2D. 2D. Let's open one of these. Just keep one of these open, I think. Yeah. So you can see here that's there. The default for this is 128 by 120. Back over here now, we can set this up 128 by 128, sure. Get rid of that padding. So this will be our, just call this icon. Doesn't need to be a variable because we're going to power. In fact, it's going to be a lazy texture as well. Lazy icon. Hey, B-Dog, I prefer overlay. I often feel limited using borders. Yes, absolutely. Overlay is going to give you a lot more range. But if you can avoid an overlay, it's pretty good to avoid it because it adds to certain layout passes. And especially if it's only got one element inside of it. So this hierarchy is really small. I'm still going to need an overlay. I'm still going to need an overlay because I have this secondary element that I need to house this element here with the number in it. So we're still going to need an overlay either way. So wrap with an overlay, but we did need the size box, so that was good. So we'll get an attachment, common visual attachment, anchored to the bottom of this. This border circle here, well, it should technically be taking up the space it needs to take up. Icon. border here, full size border, there we go. Icon, just for now, I'm going to just make this visually, there we go. I'm going to start building the materials soon, so it'll be set for that. So that's our common visual attachment. Let's just quickly get an image in here to represent that space that we were going to do. So this will be 0.5. So done there, and then we'll go with the rounded box. And we'll just make this wider, and we'll anchor this up a smidge. So that's going to sit on top. So we'll start getting this look here. It's actually only ever on the little small ones by the looks, but on the big ones too. Also not want this to scale, I think, personally. Like, it should look this big on this one, which is fine because we're going to be changing the size box, so it will always. This icon needs a scale box, sadly. It does need to shrink. If I did 75 by 75 and said that this was 128 by 128, place with child, 128 by 128, but with 32 padding, no, 8 padding, yeah. This might. Wooha! Didn't know about common visual attachment. Nice to learn a new thing. Yeah, man, it's super handy. Like, it literally allows things to escape the geometry of the panel. So you can see here the geometry of this panel is still this. And it doesn't affect the layout pass because it doesn't enter the layout pass. So you end up with like quite cheap UI. If you've got elements that are sticking out, you don't have to transform them off the panel. I mean, you are transforming them off the panel. You're using the common visual attachment to do it. So yeah, thanks Tariq. Nice to see you on the channel. I used to do this like a lot, but it's been a while. I'm back. I'm going to try and do it at 8 AM every morning for an hour. So we've got half an hour left. So let's get the material sorted for this. So we'll go material, m_UI_ skill tree. Let's call it skill tree BG. Turn this into a user interface material that is translucent. And I think we've got the SDF circle, yeah. So this comes from, just double click this. I've got the UI Material Lab in here, which is an asset that you can get off of the marketplace. It's from Epic, it's really good. So here we'll use user interface UVs. We'll use the normalized UVs into here. And I'm just going to check out how this looks in the final color. So we've got a circle there, so that's good. We'll call this feather, I guess. And we'll go 0.02. Just do this. Yeah, so you can see now that's a little bit softer on the pixels. What happens if I go min? So I only go min. Okay. So anyway, you can tell that this is like a little bit softer now, so that's cool. So that's giving us that outline there, and then we'll just need to lerp this with our main color. So it's to a parameter, background color. We're going to go for a nice bluish gray. Just plug this in. This goes in the black, and it multiplies at opacity. It's going to be the fill. Cool. And we're just going to turn these into named reroutes to keep it clean. Hey Becca Wallace, glad you are here doing this. Always love learning new methods for implementing UI. Yeah, thank you. So this is going to be, I'm just going to call it what it is, which is the shape. And for now, we're going to put like the shape in. And then everything else over here is going to become the named reroute for the RGB. That's going to go over here for RGB. Whoops. Always watch your saved live videos. They're very helpful to learn and upgrade my UI programmer from people like you. Oh yeah. Yeah. Get a little bit of tech art in there for the UI programmers and the engineers. It helps get things set up as a foundation. And then just some paradigms, some patterns that you can use, right? So hopefully there's some good stuff in there. Okay, so we've got our RGB here. We're going to move this over. It's our endpoint. We'll just call this composite. How long we got here? We've got 25 minutes. Okay, so we've feathered this. We've got our interior color. We kind of need to have a color for the bar here. So we'll go bar color. Or we'll call this skill color. Because what I notice is, it is actually faded a little bit to the actual bar, but the big field, the finished ones are full. So that's fine. We're calling it skill color. And that's going to be a nice, it's yellow. Cool. So we're getting something that we like. This needs to be darker. A good color pick, but I'm not that kind of guy. Do you ever notice a fuzziness in the UI material lab material function shapes when you use them, like they do not and do anti-aliasing correctly? Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but there's not many ways you can do it. Let's have a look at what they're doing. Let's have a look. I assume it's going to be a smooth step. So, like, what else are you going to do? Yeah, smooth step. So I use this in shipped games. Like, you're taking a distance and then you're saying fade over the distance. Smooth step lets you do that. So it's SDF, sign distance field, right? So there are other ways of doing it with like HLSL multiple loop passes to do like real anti-aliasing, but that ain't me. I just want to use what exists. You can see here, this is actually still really pixely, so 0.04, we're going to go with that. Okay, so what we could do is we could actually bake the icon directly into this. And you can see here we've got an icon with a color that's like grayed, along with the currently unused, and then there'll be like a hover color and all these things. And that would actually reduce our hierarchy again, and because there's going to be a lot of these, it's kind of in our interest to do that. So then we wouldn't even need the border for the circle, we would literally just have replace with chard. Let's go and get an instance of this going. So we've got our small circle. I've already immediately found an issue with this. I mean, it is 0.5 scale, so let's go fix that first. One, just put 1 in here. We need it to be 1 minus the feather, because otherwise it's going to clip. Not 1 minus the feather, 1 literally subtract. 1 take. Oh, I suppose that is 1 minus. Fair. 1 minus the feather. That way, get representation there. Go back to my skill. Cool. Okay. We also need to do this on this piece, but you can see here it's not actually doing. Let's go look at our image again. It's fairly consistent in design there. I'm going to just quickly use the 9 slice UVs and see. Let's just do image. This bit always gets me. There is a way to do this. It's always annoying. Also, this needs to be a border because it needs to hold. It needs to hold some text. Let's make this a border. Let's already stick some text in there to see how it looks. Becca Wallace and there's a dog going at it in the chat. Fuzziness. I'm trying to follow your process to reproduce your division style hollow map for a social game. Yeah, awesome. That's actually coming out for free. That thing I built, I'm going to put it on. It's going to be available on GitHub. Don't hold your horses. Learn and do it yourself. Yeah. On my previous project, we made a custom material function to correct that. Fair enough. I'd be interested in seeing what that is. If you want to jump into the links in the chat and go to my Discord and just like tell me what you did there. I'm pretty interested. I mean, there's options. I mean, you can just go research it, right? But I like being given stuff. So, okay, so we got a text block. We just need to put 0 out of 5 in here. Just gonna pick an arbitrary color for now. We're just gonna make it a regular size. I'm gonna go back to this border that we had and do it as a rounded box again. And this time we're gonna mess with this stuff. So I was gonna make a material for this, but the quicker route to success right now is just to go and pick the variables. Going to lock this text so I don't keep clicking on the text. So if you lock this text block here, now I can just click and it will give me the border because the text block is no longer taking clicks. If I don't, then I click, I get the text block, and I don't want to edit those properties. So I just lock it. Now I go back in, I got my border, there we go. So because it's now wrapping something, its size is determined by the child. Now I actually want to edit this. We'll go 16 here. We'll go with 5 padding there. We're going to get a desired size. So rather than wrapping this text in a size block or anything like that, we're going to use desired size here. So we'll use 50. And then we'll scroll down and we'll go center aligned. Awesome. Love it. Thank you. That'd be awesome. That would be quite swell. Okay, so now we have this part. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is higher for stats. It's higher, so that much. 0.5. Maybe even higher than 0.5. It's looking good though. I think we're getting what we want. We just have 2 different values to play with. So that's looking good. We do just have an icon now that comes with a border, so we do need to composite an icon into here. So we'll need a texture. We'll do this as a convert to parameter. Just call this icon, and then I need to go and find some icons. So let's go to my content library texture. We're just going to type in icon, see what comes up. Absolutely everything is an icon according to this. Just literally use anything, but I'm picky. We're going to use this grenade. I'm going to remove this default later, of course, because I don't want a default in there, but that's the shape. That's fine. This is the RGB. Technically, the RGB just needs a lerp now, using presumably the alpha. Yep, and then the white is going to be a parameter, our icon color. This. So we have this. We now need to modify the UVs of this icon. So we're going to scale UV by center. Just going to take those normalized user interface UVs again. And we're just going to scale, icon scale, we'll call it. And we'll just put, I think 0.7. And then we need to set this to clamp. Can I change the wrap mode in here? Yeah, clamp. Cool. So that's in there. Icon color is obviously not the correct color. So let's go change that real quick. We're going to steal this. And then we're going to just lighten it slightly. So now we have pretty much everything that we need. We have an overlay with an icon. Have a size box, so technically we don't need the overlay. We could have the icon as a border, put the visual attachment at the bottom of that border, and then we could remove an overlay. So let's, look, I'm just being really ridiculous now in terms of how few elements I want in this hierarchy, because I want to have a lot of them. So we're just going to keep going. So this is the border. We're going to steal this. In fact, you can shift and right click on this. You see how it flashes? If I go to another element and shift and left click, it just pastes it in. So that's pretty neat. Place this with child. Common border goods at the bottom in the middle. Has no padding. So look at that. Now we've got a size box determining the size of this, which eventually this is going to be a common button so that you can navigate around them. So that size box won't even be there because this will just be a common button. And we won't use the styling that comes with that, but it will be a button. Then we've got our comment. Yeah, cool. So smallest hierarchy I can think of right now to handle this. And then of course, in this particular case, all of these are going to be non-hit testable until we have a button, and then the button is going to handle the hit testing. And then that will handle color changes and hovers and things like that. Okay. What have we got in our material for now? I think this might be coming up to the end of the stream, so I'm just going to clean up. So there's a couple of things, for example, we could put a couple of these in a category. Icon. Yep. And then let's call this circle. This is what it's for. The feather is also for the circle. Compile that. So now we've got circle and icon. These are nicely laid out. You can organize them with the sort priority if you want to order these, but this is fine for now for me. The thickness of this outline is not a property. Just call it stroke thickness. What's the default for that? Don't know what the default is. Let's go find out. Stroke thickness 0.1 is the default. 0.1. Okay. Cool. Or that the owl. It's like make the first node and then make the rest of the owl. So that's done. You can close these down now. For our icon, oh actually no, we can't close those down. I lied. Big fat lie, because we don't want this in here. Not allowed. No, we'll use default grid low. Of course it just fills the entire thing because it doesn't have an alpha. You know what? My project, you would import something smaller to do this, but I don't have anything right now. Hi guys, any tips for transitioning from product design to game UI? I actually did product design at university, not at university, at college. And between that, art, and funnily enough, business, I ended up going into game dev. So I don't have any particular tips, but I know some people that would. If you ever want to hang out on a stream sometime, maybe, or throw some questions at us, and we can set up a stream to sort of talk about the concepts of getting into game UI. There is actually a channel. There is actually a video on our channel with Annie. It's a pink screenshot thumbnail. If you want to go find it, it was very UX friendly. It's like that's the one I did with Annie. And so in that we talk a little bit about breaking out into the industry, and if you're into Figma, for example, in industries, then there's a little bit of info in that one, and a bunch of resources actually, like a bunch of tips and tricks, places to look. You have a very good starting point coming from product design. I'd say it's often a matter of understanding the engine entirely. Nowadays you have tools that will help you learn incredibly effectively. Give me all video tutorials for X. We are in an age of abundant knowledge. We always have been. Now we're just one step forward. So yeah, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. All right. So I don't want to go over time. but I do kind of want to get this drawn on the screen, so let's see what we can do there. For now, let's just get a skill item into this UI. I'm just going to kill that. Control Shift S. Get rid of everything in here. I'm actually going to replace this with... It'd be really cool is doing it with an attachment, so it doesn't actually take up any layout space, and then right-click and dragging it around. It needs to be a canvas panel either way, ultimately. So, because I need to position them by hand. There's no way around it. This is what canvas panel is for, and gosh darn, we're going to use it. Okay, scale to size. We're going to set the anchors for this to 0.5. I'm just going to move this down here. What have I got in my clipboard right now? Oh, yeah. So we've got, just get this out of the way. Okay, we've got two of these. If I scale this, stop scaling at some point, which is blanking annoying. Let's wrap this. This is probably going to make someone cringe. We're going to wrap this with a scale box. There we go. We can't be having it. We can't be having it disappear. I mean, it gets massive. Oh, we can set the scaling to scale down only. There we go. Oh, come on. This canvas is center aligned. What I'm trying to do is basically get it, if we're at 1920 by 1080, this is the size of the thing. If we then go, see how it's getting really big. I don't really want it to get really big. I've set it to scale down. Scale to... I don't need to. Why are you scaling? Why are you scaling? I'm just changing the screen size. Right? I don't understand. Can't save page 6, probably because it's under source control. This page failed to save. Well, you know what? You know what I think about that? Interface, user widget, w_skill tree screen. I'm just going to paste that stuff in here. Oh, it can't save that either. That's just it's just ideal. Why aren't we allowed to save? Well, that'll be the end of the stream, folks, because I can't save the screen. For whatever reason, I'm not allowed. The asset cannot be saved. Literally not doing anything on my machine that would stop that. Anyway, we're going to stop there. Yeah, a bit confused. Everything else is saved, so we're in an okay spot. Let's just hit play. Got the stuff. Super blaster. There's a place here where if you just stand there, it just like spawns of you everywhere. Okay, cool. So that's still working. Yeah, I had. That's broke. Oh yeah, I never thought about this, but my weapon wheel is over the top of my radial wheel. Now, yeah, well, there's some cast failures. So, old project opening it after 3 of some number of months. Oh yeah, we got these markers. That's cool. Oh, look, he doesn't unhover either. Yeah, so there's a couple of bugs in there. We'll get back to those, I think. I want to clean this up and get it shipped to you guys. You guys can play around with it. End of the music, end of the stream. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back in the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, share it around. I'll be doing UI and gameplay prototyping, rapid prototyping stuff. I want to make a couple of different games and game jams over the weeks, but I'll be back in the morning at 8 AM and we will carry on. So Thanks for joining. See you in the next one.